I'll discuss benegea to the different Maimorim that the Rebbe said on Shovuos, and different special events that happened in certain years. The first 20 years of the Rebbe's Nesias, approximately less than 20, the Rebbe would say a Mamer the first night Shovuos. It started in Tafshin Yud Beis. The Rebbe came there from the house, and the Rebbe asked, "Where's the Elam?" It was already Amud HaShachar, and the Elam was already went to the mikveh, and the Rebbe asked for certain people. The Rebbe asked Benegir Rabbi Yokan, and heard from Rabbi Groner that when the Rebbe came into the Zal, the Rebbe took off his coat and he gave it to Rabbi Groner, who was holding it, and they started to sing a long nigun in order that they should have time to come back from Karastir Mikveh in order to be able to make the Mamer. The Mamer then was Chamisha Kinyonim, Kana Kodesh Baruch Hu Beilome. In fact, that year the Rebbe said 2 Maimorim with this Divrei HaMaschel, and that was the Mamer of the first night Shovuos, Aleis HaShachar. The next year it became a Kvios that the Rebbe would come in 3 a.m. to say the Mamer of Shovuos, as Chassidim referred to it, the Matan Torah Mamer. Chassidim were already done L'fe'erech with Tikkun, and about 2:30, 2:40, the Elam would gather towards the Rebbe's table, the Fabrengen table, and the Rebbe would come in 3 o'clock sharp. The Rebbe would take out the handkerchief that the Rebbe used to wrap around the fingers of his right hand, some of the fingers, and he would begin the Mamer. There would be no nigun before, not an exchange of a word. The Rebbe just closed his eyes and started to say the Mamer. The Mamer took about 35-40 minutes, well, I vaguely remember, from Tavshin Chav Ches, Chav Tes, Lamed, the 3 years, and after that the Rebbe would stand up, and while he's walking out, the Rebbe would take off the handkerchief from his right hand, and he would return to his room, and then the Rebbe would go home. And Rabbi Yoel and Bacharim and Anash basically Pravet Chazara to Aleis HaShachar. This Mamer was very unique in the sense that Chassidim walking to Talucha the next day, it was a very special inyan that Chassidim haben sich pashat gekochten them on the way. We used to chazer the Mamer all along to remember it. It wasn't shaykh to write it down till after the second day Yom Tov, and the second day Yom Tov didn't just finish by Havdalah, by the Zman, because the Rebbe fabreng the second day Yom Tov, so it really went hours after that. So everybody was very bislavus from in the fact of the Mamer and trying to remember the Mamer bediuk, another word, and trying to find a connection one in another. Rabbi Yokan would chazer the Mamer and Rabbi Simpson Shul in Boropark, where he went to Halucha, and Megillah with the Mamer. This was basically up till Tavshin Lamed, and after that it stopped. Possibly the reason is because the Rebbe stopped eating the Suda upstairs in the Friedrich Rebbe's apartment after the Rebbe's in the Chamadina was nifter, Asara B'Tevis, Tavshin Lamed Aleph, early 1971. And B'Meila, this was a segment in history which was a Inyan Meyuchad, the 3 a.m. Mamer. The next year, Tavshin Lamed Aleph, Erev Shovuos was on Shabbos. Remember, we heard then that the older Chassidim asked, when is the Rebbe going to deliver the Mamer of Shovuos, the Mamer of the first night, the traditional Mamer? So the Rebbe said the Mamer will be after the Fabrengen, Shabbos Bamidbar, which was actually Erev Shovuos. Shabbos Erev Shovuos. Tavshin Lamed Beis was an interesting event that took place. It was by that Fabrengen that the Rebbe asked to sing the nigun before the Mamer, by the Fabrengen, the second day Shovuos. And the Rebbe then said a Mamer based, and I think it was Os Ba'os, from the Mamer in Tere'er Mareyem U'Maseyem, Tere'er Yisrei, which is a short Mamer, a lot of Kabbalah, and it took about 10 minutes. And at the seam of the Mamer, the Rebbe said, this is the Mamer that the Alter Rebbe said in Beis HaAsurim, in prison, in front of the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid who came to visit him there. We heard then that the Rebbe said that the reason that he said the Mamer on the second day Shovuos, not the first day Shovuos, is because the first day Shovuos was Talucha, and the Rebbe didn't want to disturb Talucha, disturb the Seder of what was going on, the Seder Hayom, so therefore the Rebbe left it for, said it on the second day Shovuos. Later on by the Fabrengen, there was a second Mamer. The second Mamer was B'Shosh Ikdimu, a Mamer which took about 25 minutes, as it was usually the average time for a Mamer in those years. Tavshin Lamed Beis actually marked also a beginning towards the end of the year that the Rebbe started to Fabring all the Erev Yom Tovim. Erev Rosh Hashanah, the night before Erev Rosh Hashanah. Erev Sukkot, the night before Erev Sukkot, which means basically the night before Erev Sukkot was referred to as Erev Sukkot Fabrengen. Yud Gimel Tishrei. Pesach was the Yud Aleph Nisan Fabrengen, which since the Rebbe became 70, the Rebbe Fabrenged every year, next 16 years till Chav Bei Shvat, and after that all the weekday Fabrengen stopped. And Erev Shavuos, the night before Erev Shavuos, which is basically Hey Sivan. And most of the Maimarim then were with the beginning of B'Shosh Ikdimu. That's how the Rebbe began the Maimer, as it was then Hey Sivan that Yidden said Nasa V'Nishma.